Hello and welcome to the ISPP graduation for 2020. My name is Monica Esquivel. I'm the program director, and I'll just be providing a brief introduction for our virtual celebration, which is a first of the last first of many firsts for this year. First, I just want to say a big congratulations to all of our interns. Here's a picture of the group, Bev, Courtney, Sharice, Christina, Lauren, Max, and Haley, the start of our journey. I also wanted to take a moment right now to also thank our program staff, Tina Lau, Amy Tausman, Dr. Janan Bana for stepping in while I was on maternity leave, as well as all of our preceptors, and last but not least, all the family members of our interns that have gotten them through this interesting year. So if I had to pick one picture to describe this class of 2020's experience, it's been this windy road. And so we are coming, to the end of that journey, but it has not been without lots of unanticipated twists and turns. And so in this introduction, I wanted to revisit our model that we started on, which was the AALI'i, which is can be used as a model for strength, resilience, and flexibility. Here's a picture of the AALI'i plant. And the Alelo Noeau, Ali'i ku makani mai au, ohe makani nana I kula'i. I am the wind withstanding, Ali'i, no wind can topple me over. So at the start of our cohort this year, we went over this model, and we talked about some of the different things that this AALI'i plant goes through. So the AALI'i plant is often used as a Hawaiian metaphor for and model for strength, resilience, and flexibility. The plant survives challenging environments and forces and blooms to become a useful resource. And we use this model as students and professionals for how we can survive in our environments to become resources to our community. And so we'll revisit the AALI'i begins as a plant seed, and so we all experience new beginnings, and at these new beginnings, and we're at a new one now, it's a good time to reflect on a seed that was planted to get us here. And then AALI'i plants grow. The seeds are planted, they're exposed to elements, and with nourishing rain, the plants begin to sprout, and with sun, the plant can blossom to become strong and so just like the AALI'i plant with rain and sun, we too all have elements that give us life, that nourish us, that motivate us, and we can all probably think of a few elements we experienced in the last 10 years that helped us to grow and nourished us. AALI'i plants do have to survive these harsh conditions. So some of the elements that these plants will face are harsh and high winds, long periods of drought. But surviving these elements makes these plants so admirable and inspiring. They become rooted in the ground and they become strong. And so we can all think of some harsh conditions we've been through in the last 10 months that in the end, have made us stronger. And then once in full bloom, the AALI'i has survived elements that were nourishing and challenging, and it's in full bloom and ready to be transformed. So you can see here some examples of lei and different tools or implements that these plants can be used for. And so we're at the juncture where we think of ourselves in full bloom at this time and can reflect on what transformational work we're ready to accomplish in the future. So without further ado, you can maybe hear some dogs barking in the background. Our graduation agenda today will have a keynote presentation from Jen Draper. So Jen Draper is a registered dietitian. She has a private practice in nutrition here on Oahu, and she also serves as a lecturer teaching many of our undergraduate dietetics courses. We'll then go into a presentation of the graduates, and we'll finish with some closing remarks. So thank you again for being here, and we look forward to sharing the intern's progress and with you.
Aloha ISPP class of 2020. Congratulations on completing your dietetic internship. My name is Jen Draper, and it's truly an honor to get to speak with you today and participate in this celebration. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist. I work in private practice, and I also teach at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. And I want to start out talking about this common experience called the dietetic internship. I like to call it a rite of passage, because any dietitian that you talk to is going to have their stories, and some are going to align with what you experienced, and some you'll just laugh and laugh hearing about, or you'll cringe. And it's meaningful because this credential that we get is consistent across all programs. I have such appreciation and gratitude for the dietitians that came before us, who set us up to be prepared and to succeed and to have a credential that means something. Every single program follows the same didactic or learning in classroom material. The internship provides everyone with the same opportunities to have exposure to the areas, community, clinical, and food service. So it's a shared experience that we can all relate to. And I do want to say that your experience, class of 2020, went off target a little bit. So we're going to reframe this to say you got some life experience that is going to prepare you even more for what's to come. Okay, I'm going to use the metaphor of sailing. I'm not really much of a sailor. I was born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area. I got to sail around the bay a few times as a kid. But we can just all imagine, if you've never sailed, that there's a skill set that is required. You need to know what to do with the ropes and the tack and the sail. You need to know how to keep your boat from sinking and to keep it moving and where it needs to go. So let's think of your first week in your dietetic internship, where you're all getting your assignments, figuring out where to go, what island you're going to be on, where do you park, where do you even go to the bathroom, all these things. What's your preceptor's name? And do you know somebody who's a dietitian who had that rotation that you can get some notes from? So you're off of your boats, and you might be looking around saying, I wish I had somebody in my boat. How come those two get to go in the same boat together? And man, I wish I was headed over there. It's pretty easy to compare. But all you can do is sail your boat. So you do your best, and you think, my preceptor's asking for something, and I didn't learn this in my class. Where did this boat come from? But you figure it out. You Google, you research, you ask questions, you find your rhythm. And you all did this. You were off in your different directions, working in your internships, and you started having these common experiences. Like, do you remember the moment when you realized you were paying all this money to do someone else's work? Oh, I said it. We have to say it. Now, some people are fortunate and they get internships that are paid. But I was like you. I paid for mine. I went to a program in the through the University of Texas in Austin, and I remember I was in my clinical rotation at a very busy hospital, and I was feeling good. It had been a number of weeks. I was charting on my patients. My preceptor mostly would just go sign off on what I was doing. She would give me feedback, of course, but I was in this groove, and I was feeling good, and then it hit me. I'm paying to do her job. Well, of course, that's not the whole story. My classmate that was in the same rotation with me had the same meltdown at a different time. So we were able to talk each other through it, remind each other that we're getting invaluable experience, and this is how we learn, and this is just how it goes to be a dietitian. But it's okay if you thought that for a moment, then you just keep going, right? It's an amazing opportunity to build your confidence before you actually get into the workplace. You might have also had a specific moment in time where you knew in your bones that this exact thing was what lights you up from the inside, and you can't wait to have a career doing this. Whatever that was for you. You might also have decided that a few of these rotations were not for you. That's part of the deal. So you try it all on, and you know what's not a good fit. You still show up and you do your best, and you're professional, and you just know it's not for me. That's okay too. It's all building on your experience, your perseverance, your ability to be adaptable, right? Because as soon as you figure out what you're doing and you feel like you got your stride, then you get moved over to your next rotation and you start all over again. It's hard. And this is the common experience I'm talking about that all dietitians go through. And you can meet somebody from a different place at a different time, they can relate. So for you folks, you got through your first semester feeling pretty good, feeling pretty stressed, all the things that come with an internship. And then the unimaginable happened. One person in your cohort, Christina Salazar, had a medical emergency and passed away. There was no notice for that. There was no warning. This is not part of what you signed up for. So now it's like you're in your little boats and there's no wind, right? The sails are just hanging. What do you even do next? And her absence was so big. I know that we miss her in ways that we can't even put into words. And I haven't been able to talk about her since she passed away without getting tearful. And I personally don't think that's a bad thing. She was an amazing, incredible young woman. So here you were, no wind, no Christina. What next? And what we saw from the shore watching all of you was that you pulled together. It was almost like the only way you could keep going was if you pulled in. And the sense of community and the way that you grew as a cohort was what propelled you into this next season, this next semester. And I want to tell you that you honored Christina in your ability to do this. This is something that's definitely not part of the experience you signed up for, meaning how you become a dietitian, but I want to tell you that collaboration that happened in her after her passing is a vital skill set to take with you into your career as a dietitian. There is a lot of competition out there, and that's not going to serve anybody. And let me tell you that there is enough work to go around. Whatever you're interested in, there's a place for you. And when you work together with your fellow dietitians, you do better work. You can serve more people. So this opportunity to pull together in such a tight-knit way, because it was the only way you could move forward, actually is giving you a very special opportunity to know how to collaborate. And so that's what it looks like to be resilient, right? That you get hit with something really hard and you don't just bounce back, you bounce even higher. So here you are back on your boat, you redirect, you catch some wind, you're working together, you're moving through your grief and your anger, your confusion, and you're starting to get some momentum, right? Skies are good, clear skies, good weather conditions, get through January, get through February. Oh, what's happening here in March? Sky's looking kind of dark. Y'all, there was no way to predict this COVID-19 storm. Here you are in your little boats getting drenched, tossed from place to place. The wind the rain, and nobody can tell you what's going to happen next. I can imagine that first week was so confusing for you because the people in charge didn't know the answers because they didn't even know the questions. The Commission on Dietetic Registration was just trying to figure out how to make this work for you. There might have been moments where you thought everything's lost. We'll never finish. And what you did in those moments is you trusted the process. I believe wholeheartedly that the powers in charge have your best interest in mind, and they changed what was required to allow you to finish, and you changed. You know, this word pivot has become very popular during this whole global pandemic. But y'all did this. You were able to pivot and to move forward into what came next, even without knowing all the answers, even wondering if you were getting shortchanged. Now, I'm going to tell you that whatever you need to succeed in your dietetic career, if you didn't get it in this internship, you will get it. There is continuing education. You can find a mentor. It's available for you. And from now until the end of time, when you tell somebody you did your dietetic internship in the spring of 2020, you're not going to have to say more. They're going to know your character. They're going to know that you know how to complete a goal and that you pushed through something so hard. When some of us didn't even know what day it is. I still have a hard time with Tuesday to Thursday. I get really confused, and we're in the 12th week of this. So, is it ideal? Absolutely not. Has it helped you and prepared you in a way that is actually going to enhance and enrich your career? I think so. I think it's something that you just had to work through, and you did it together, and you didn't stop, even if you wanted to. You kept going, and you worked it out, and here you are today celebrating your graduation. Now, I have some things I want to share about being a dietitian. It truly is a career path where you are changing people's lives. No matter what population you work with, you are meeting people throughout some part of the lifespan, and you're helping educate them and support them in their eating and their health behaviors. This improves quality of life. This puts them at ease when they feel afraid. Sometimes you're working with the caregivers or the parents of a patient or a client, and you've set their minds at ease. You truly have the power to make this world a better place, improve quality of life for everyone that you talk to. But I'm going to get in a little close because I want you to hear this. If you forget everything I said in this little talk today, I want you to hear this. You are now the expert on nutrition, and you absolutely are. You've done the work. You know the material. You know how to find the research. You're going to continue learning as you go. You are the expert. And P.S., you truly are. You're going to go into community situations and ask people a question like, raise your hand if you can tell me a source of dietary fat. And someone, the first hand that goes up is going to say sugar. And then you'll think, wow, I really do know a lot because sugar is not fat, right? It's simple things that you can share. So you are the expert on nutrition, but here's what I want you to hear. The person you are talking to, the client, the patient, they are the expert on their bodies. They are the expert on their experiences. And your job is to meet them exactly where they are. And I want you to hear this. It is a privilege for us to get to sit with them, talk story with them, get invited into this private world of their health behaviors. If you approach it from this way and acknowledge it's a privilege, I start every single individual session telling the person that it's a privilege to sit with them because I think it's true. And it keeps you in a very humble place where you get to say, hey, tell me about yourself. You're the expert. I'm just here to give you some guidance. My job is to link arms with you and just walk with you as long as you'll have me. We really need to practice patient or client-centered care. And when you tell somebody that they're the expert on their own body, it gives you some credibility. So I really want you to embrace that. If you have questions about it, you can find me. I'm happy to talk to you more about it, but it will even set you at ease. Now, you also don't have to know everything under the sun. You are allowed to say, that's a great question. Let me get back to you on that. Just make sure you circle back and actually get back to them. You are now the most up-to-date person in our dietetic field. You have the most new information and knowledge, and I want you to feel so confident in that even though you're shiny and new and a little green, when you go into your first jobs, you have something to offer. Now, it's very important to listen to the mentors and the people who've come before you because they've experienced it. They can give you some good advice. However, if you think of something different or something to add to the conversation, speak up. You have a place at the table. Your thoughts are just as valid as anyone else's. And what we need is more creativity and more diversity in the thinking in the way we practice dietetics. So instead of worrying that you're not like somebody else, I want to encourage you to become the best you and to develop all the ways that you're different, because that's what our profession needs. Now, I want to wrap up just with a little bit of guidance or encouragement about the RD exam. I've been speaking to you like you're already dietitians, but we know you still have this one hurdle. And I want you to think of it like that, like you have run the race, you have come this far, you know all the things you need to know, and you can see the finish line. All you have to do is get over this hurdle, and if you are prepared, you will fly right over it, no problem. If you're not prepared, you'll get tangled up and fall on your face and have to start again. You're ready for this. You all made it here because you're in the top of your class, right? You know how to take tests. I still remember one of my questions. What is the limiting amino acid in whole wheat bread? I'll let you look that one up. This test is the final leap. Make time to study. You know yourself. If you know you benefit with more time, give yourself more time. If you can really focus in, might only need a couple weeks. I think that's what I took. Everyone's different. Do take or use the study guides that are available. They will help you. They will help you learn how to study for this test. Do walk into it with confidence, knowing that you are prepared. You got this. The finish line is right there, and I want to encourage you to go for it. It is so exciting to have all of you joining this profession. There's a place for you here, and we're so happy to have you. And I just want to say congratulations on a job well done. Y'all worked really, really hard, and it's gonna pay off. Wishing you warmest aloha, and can't wait to see you on the field.
Beverly DeRidge Kaiko. Beverly's career interests include community nutrition, the WIC program, and diabetes education. After she completes the internship, Beverly will focus on passing the registration exam for dietitians, continue working with WIC, and spend time with loved ones who have supported her throughout her dietetics career. Courtney Mayumi Chow. Courtney has always had an interest in working as a renal dietitian and would love to work in a dialysis center in the future. Once the internship is finished, Courtney will be spending time studying for the registration exam for dietitians. Charisse Ayami Laikwan Go. Charisse is most interested in the clinical side of dietetics, specifically geriatrics. After this internship is done, Charisse will be focusing on and studying for the registered dietitian's examination. She hopes to get a registered dietitian job in an area of her interest, hopefully with the geriatric population. Max David Goldstein. Max is most interested in community nutrition and education relating to the connection of food systems from farm to body. Within his teachings, he hopes to bring an understanding of where food comes from, the process it goes through, and once it is ready to be consumed, how it affects each of our bodies in different ways. Max is interested in diabetes, renal and hepatic diseases, as well as other GI issues. Max has been in contact with the head chef of the culinary school and the dean of the community college that he graduated from, and will be looking into possibly getting a position teaching there. As a registered dietitian, he hopes to get a part-time position doing clinical nutrition at a hospital. Eventually, Max hopes to open his own community clinic, where he will open a private practice educating the community on leading a healthier, more sustainable lifestyle. Haley Annette Taylor. Haley's areas of interest include clinical nutrition, especially in intensive care unit and surgical settings. Haley plans to pass the registered dietitian's examination and will be job searching here on Oahu.
Hello everyone, my name is Max. I'm one of the 2019-2020 ISPP interns. Welcome to graduation. I would like to thank everybody for coming today. This has been an amazing experience, and it's a shame that it's coming to an end so fast. At the beginning, it felt like the first several months were taking a long time, but now that we're at the end, I'm just looking at where all the time went. I've had an amazing experience both in Honolulu and on Big Island. So in my rotations, I spent half my time on Oahu and then moved over to Big Island on the Hilo side. This is where I've kind of been living in my apartment here in Hilo. I was blessed to have this apartment. It's so close to the medical center. Although, as most everybody knows, COVID hit, so in the middle of my inpatient rotation, I had to leave the hospital and didn't get to finish. Luckily, the outpatient rotation, while I never actually went to the building to see patients, we did everything online, so I'm very thankful for my preceptor for that. While I was on Oahu, I learned a lot. I was in my community rotation, Hawaii Child Nutrition Programs, and WIC. When I came here, as I said, I did inpatient, outpatient, but before all that, I did food service. So I'm thankful for all the staff and all the locations that I was at. I would like to thank my family for being here today, for giving me all the support throughout the years, through all my endeavors. I would like to thank the selection committee for allowing me to be on the ISPP program. I would like to thank specifically the director and the advisors who have helped me every step of the way and guided me through the process of being an intern. And then I would like to thank all the preceptors that I've had. Some were amazing, and I hope that I keep relationships with them through my entire career. So again, thank you all for coming today. I hope you have a great day, and I will see some of you later.